Hollow Pines isn't a town you can easily find. There's no map that mentions it, and if you ask, the people in the nearest town will tell you to stay away. But Eleanor Moore, a writer looking for inspiration, believes that the best stories come from unknown places. The Ashford house sits in the middle of a pine forest, alone, surrounded by a fog that never quite clears. It used to belong to a prominent family, but since 1972, no one has stayed there for more than a week. But Eleanor, she intended to stay. For a month, she thought that would be enough to write her new book. Little did she know that the house was also writing a story for her. Eleanor opened the door of the old house and was immediately greeted by the smell of dust, wet wood, and something like iron. The house was spacious, long hallways, walls covered in worn wallpaper, and an old piano in the living room, with a broken key. Upstairs, the master bedroom was still intact. A large wooden bed, tall windows, overlooking the forest. Eleanor put down her suitcase, opened her laptop, and wrote her first line. In this remote place, I heard the world stop. The first night, he fell asleep faster than he expected, but in the midst of his dreams, he heard sounds like the sound of a typewriter, then silence and a soft cry from down the hall. In the morning, Eleanor woke. With a heavy head, the electricity was flickering, and the heater was off. When she went downstairs to the kitchen, she saw small prints on the floor, like children's footprints, but she lived alone. She thought it was just dust, or maybe a mouse. She made some coffee and opened the window. The fog had not cleared when she returned to her room. Her laptop was open, the screen was lit, her document was open. But not the writing. There was a new sentence on the screen. Don't leave me here. Eleanor wiped it away, thinking maybe she had written it half consciously, but deep inside, a coldness began to grow, as if the house was watching her. The second night, the crying was heard again, but this time it was clearly coming from the attic. Eleanor took a flashlight, opened the old wooden ladder, and climbed up. The attic was empty, but in the corner, a floorboard was loose. She lifted it and found something, a small journal. The leather torn, the front page read, Clara Ashford, 1972. Inside, a child's handwriting. A few pages read. As Eleanor closed the book, the lights went out, the flashlight went out. Then something stood at the end of the hall. A girl, her white dress dirty, her hair covering her face. She pointed down to the space under the stairs. When Eleanor looked up, she disappeared, but the little door under the stairs opened by itself. Inside, it was just dark and smelled of earth, but there was Clara's voice. Did you hear me? Eleanor stepped back slowly, closing the door, but now the house was coming alive. The floor creaked even, though no one was walking. The mirrors began to fog up from inside, and every night the typewriter kept typing, read my story. Eleanor, let people know. The next day, Eleanor drove to the nearest town. She visited the nearly abandoned Hollow Pines Library. There, she found an old newspaper clipping. May 12, 1972. Report, the Ashfords disappeared, without a trace, no sign of a struggle. The house was left empty, with the dinner table still set. That night, Eleanor returned home. She couldn't stop thinking about Clara. The small door under the stairs seemed to be waiting to be opened. This time, she didn't bring a flashlight, only Clara's journal, and the last shred of courage she had left. The hallway beyond the door was narrow, descending, leading to a damp, dark basement. Inside hung a portrait of the Ashford family. Clara's eyes crossed out. In the corner of the room, a large mirror cracked and dusty. But it showed something that wasn't in the room. A woman stood behind Eleanor. Her face was broken. Her eyes were blank. Her lips whispered, "Did you read it?" The cursed book. Eleanor turned around. No one was there, but in the mirror, the figure was still standing. She touched a glass surface and was pulled in. Eleanor stood in the dark room. No light, no sound, except for a whisper. You must not go out. You know too much. The figure of Mother Clara emerged from the darkness. Clearer now. Her eyes were weeping blood. Her fingers were long and piercing. But Clara appeared too. A soft light surrounded the little girl. She stood between Eleanor and her mother. That's enough, Mother. We don't need any more blood to be calm. In the silence, the sound of children laughing could be heard, and then it was gone. Some houses just want to be remembered. Eleanor wakes up on the living room floor. Morning has come. The fog has cleared. The house seems lighter, calmer. She packs up her things, leaving the house with heavy but relieved steps. But as the car pulls away, the camera cuts back to the Ashford house in the attic. An old typewriter starts up by itself, typing a single sentence. Thank you, Eleanor. My story is now complete. My story is now complete. The screen fades to black in the silence. The sound of children laughing, and then it's gone. Some houses just want to be remembered.